3, 2, 1. Get the show on the road, Hagen. Hey! That's the energy we have at this studio on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. I don't know if you noticed, or the weather's it's cooling down a bit.
I know. It's not 3 digits, it's just 2.
But just because it's colder doesn't mean this show is less hot.
That's right,
With our
baby.
very hot guest today. Hot topic. But I wouldn't give it away as to who it is. So
Okay.
it's always a surprise.
Always a surprise.
But before we get there, hey, there's lots of things to discuss.
Are there?
A couple.
Oh, okay.
Most importantly, how are you?
I am doing well.
I heard Lil Bird told me that you were on the field last week.
I was, yes. You can tell by my tanned complexion.
Nice. And do you get some dirt in that vest?
I did. There's a little black mark near the bottom of my vest now.
Dude.
I know. And I hit my head a few times on the scaffolding. So
Boy, you had your hair high on, right?
that's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Okay.
So at least there's a few marks on the
Safety's going
hard
to cancel us if you didn't say that.
I had it on? I would have hurt otherwise.
I think I know the spot you mean. That you're trying to like duck, right? And
Yeah.
Construction
Construction sites are not meant for 6-foot tall people. I
What
don't
was
even
that?
know how. I don't even know
what
how
do you mean?
people like Thomas Lucas can.
Oh, he makes the scaffold work for him.
I'm sure he does. But I got a sticker too.
Your first sticker?
First sticker, yeah.
Oh,
That's exciting.
congrats.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Are you a
I
new
did.
man now?
I do feel
I see your chest puff
Yeah,
up.
you know,
Yeah, extra
my
feathers.
shoulder problems. I had to keep it back.
Oh,
That's what
yes,
happened.
yes.
No, yeah, it was definitely a great experience. And I could see why people enjoy it. I mean, it is nice. Every morning, Brandon Arias and I would go out and we walked the job site. And
Is it the same Brandon that was on the show?
It is.
Okay,
What?
sure.
That Brandon Arias? Yeah.
It's all connected.
So we'd go walk the job site. We'd go talk to different trade partners, and he would tell me different things about what's going on, what they got planned for today. And we kind of go back to the office, do a few things, come back out, back and forth. But it was great just walking out on the job site. I can see, being outside and, problems arose almost daily, almost not every hour, but every other hour.
The construction, bud.
Yeah. And so I can see why that, I feel like a lot of people that come on the show, they're like, oh, I like it because it's every day is new and there's always a brand new challenge to solve that day. And I saw it firsthand. And so.
And I know we have a guest waiting for us, but do I want to ask you a question?
Oh.
Do you think now that you've been on the field, it changes your perspective of how you're gonna approach your engineer job?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I spent perhaps maybe too much time on, I wouldn't say frivolous tasks, but focusing on kind of little side tasks. And I feel like I want to focus more on making sure that we can support the project teams and the field teams a little bit more, because their jobs can be very stressful. And I knew that, but then I got to see it firsthand.
Get a little taste of the smoothie type of thing.
Sure. But yeah, so I think kind of that allows me to, I guess, focus a little bit more on what's, those, the meat of the pie, as you like to say,
Great
kind of those
phrase.
bigger hurdles, bigger
Obstacles.
there's a word there that I'm just not thinking about. Too much time in the sun, I can't think.
Concrete bollards?
No.
So does that mean we're going to be seeing some new ideas coming for you for the innovation station?
I submitted 2
Already?
because of my time out on the field. Yeah, there was not major things, but just some minor things that I thought maybe could be.
It might not be major to you, but it might be major to our buddy down the street,
That's right.
Brandon.
So yeah, but yeah. So I wanted to thank Brandon and Mike and Zach. I got to meet Denny for the first time.
Really?
So it was nice. Yeah, I've never met him
the
before.
first time.
Yeah,
It's a legend.
yeah. So I spent a lot of time with those 4 individuals. 4. Can't count.
That's okay.
So it was nice.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So now enough about you. I know. Sorry, we have a show to do.
Yeah, sorry.
What?
Now we're in this great place where we can kind of forge into new territories, and so it's pretty exciting. So we'll kind of realign and see where we can go.
You'll have to show me if there's a report out there. You have to show me.
I don't know if there is or not. I'm not quite sure.
Oh yeah, there is.
I don't know why that soundbite was used in that moment. But what about you?
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah. What about you? What do you got going on?
Busy. But the main announcement I wanted to share was I don't know if you heard.
No,
There's a big event happening soon.
Where?
Buda, Texas.
Oh, I like Buda.
And the date. Do you know the date? Do you know your dates?
No. Thursday?
It is a Thursday. But the Austin Equipment Yard is having its grand opening.
Oh, yes.
Are you gonna go?
I think I might.
Yeah, that's right. There'll be more air horns after you hear what's happening there.
Yeah, tell us.
There's gonna be a live band.
Ooh.
There's gonna be Hello Trouble Whole Bar and drinks. Drinks.
Okay. Drinks. That's all I need to know.
And there's a big one. I'm so sad. I'm gonna miss it.
You're gonna miss it.
Sadly,
That means everyone else can actually win a prize for once.
Exactly. So good luck. I don't win that often. People think I win. I do not. I just win at life, hosting the show with you.
Oh my gosh!
There will be a cornhole competition.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
don't even have you're my partner with me.
I know. Sorry. You can find someone else.
Hmm.
I'm pretty good. This right shoulder don't lie. But
All right.
there'll also be a few exciting prizes, raffle prizes.
Oh.
Not just one or two, over 30 raffle prizes.
30?
So yeah, you without me there, you're hopefully gonna win something.
At least, yeah. Those are some.
The
good
odds are in
odds.
your favor.
They are.
And I know some of the things they're giving out are cowboy box seats.
Wow. Like the Cowboys, the football team.
Yeah, or maybe just the bar on the street. Oh, bro.
I just want to make that clear.
No, I like the sound. That's why I went with it. But yes, football. And then there might also be kayak and fishing gear for you big fisher.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah. Fishing research. A Blackstone grill. If you cook,
Nope.
you don't. And more.
Okay. Maybe the more.
So you put in your calendars. I believe it's September 20th.
21st. Yeah.
And I like to speak slow. But yeah, September 21st. It's a Thursday. It's coming up. You should go. It's a big opening. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you get to bond with your coworkers.
That's, wonderful, as always.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like
But you know what it's time for now?
I don't know what time it is.
I think it's time to spin the wheel.
Woo!
Spin the wheel.
But you have to do it.
That one. Is it calibrated?
I don't know if we calibrated it.
Hot take. Oh, what is this? I'm pretty sure it landed hot takes first.
It did,
so.
yeah. We're just gonna go with what it landed on first.
Hot takes.
Plus, I don't know if you can reach the hard hat. So.
Oh, we can. Hot take this week.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
We don't do this one very often. This is exciting.
I know. I wasn't prepared for this, so I'm improvising this one.
Oh, you weren't? Oh.
I can.
Or is that a hot take?
I had it in my mind.
Okay.
Whenever you brush your teeth, do you get your tooth wet before you put the toothpaste,
Or
you,
after?
or you just leave it dry?
Oh no way! Always a little bit of. I'll put the toothpaste on and then I'll run under some water and then
Also, you do
brush these pearly
toothpaste,
whites.
dry food, and then so you put the toothpaste under water.
Yes.
Interesting.
What do you do?
I get my toothbrush wet and then I put the toothpaste on it.
Really?
Really?
Interesting.
Because you're taking some of the toothpaste away when you get it wet, you know?
I mean, hardly any. Like, I don't think that much is coming off.
Well, have you seen your
Unless
teeth?
I'm like-
Have you seen your teeth lately, Hagen?
I between the two of us, yes, my dental hygiene could be much better. I know you have impeccable dental
Nope,
hygiene.
I had a cavity last week.
Well, I probably have cavities in every tooth. Every tooth. Every teeth.
Every teeth.
Every teeths. All the teeths have cavities. So maybe I'll try your technique.
It works.
I mean, it's gonna be the same.
Just look at this smile. No, okay, I was expecting a noise or anything. But yeah, that's a hot take for this week. Nothing too hot. Quite the opposite. A little watery base.
But were you saying? Do you know people that don't put any?
Yeah, I
water?
think they just grab the toothbrush, put the toothpaste, and just
I've seen that
get
like
it
in
down.
movies.
See?
What?
Our very own.
James Holmes. What?
Does it shock you?
It doesn't shock me at all. I don't even know if he has running water in his house.
Yeah, he goes to the well down the block.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Use rainwater.
Rainwater. Yeah.
Rainwater, of course.
I should have
He
known.
doesn't have a well.
And it hasn't rained for months.
Decades. We might get some rain this week.
Ooh, exciting.
Tomorrow, Thursday or Friday. But yeah, that's the hot take this week. And do we have time for one more? And our guest is anxiously waiting. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like we do.
So spin
that wheel. Oh my gosh, you're aggressive.
Oh no, that's not bad.
Now we gotta vamp for a little while. No, now we'll see where it goes.
He lands on. He doesn't fall.
What do you,
Get the? Oh, it's too far for me.
do we want to just improvise here?
We can improvise.
Okay.
Yeah, just quiet for a second, then spin again, so it makes it easier.
Quiet. Spin the wheel.
Nice.
They can't see the stop.
I was gonna say I was gonna go hold it. It's our wins.
No, keep going. Yeah, that works.
What do you want to tell me though?
Ooh, around the world.
What? How did that happen?
Look at those odds.
Okay. Well, today I've got a special one for you.
Oh, goody.
No, Gordie. Gordie Howe
You
International
got it.
Bridge.
I set it up.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, we're
It's
good.
like we played volleyball together this weekend. Before I start talking about the Gordie Howe International Bridge, do you know who Gordie Howe is?
I do not know.
Oh, he is a famous Canadian hockey player. One of the best, some might say. I know Wayne Gretzky's up there.
He's the
but
goat.
I think people consider Wayne Gretzky the GOAT. But Gordie Howe is, I think
Of
he
a
has-
sheep.
they're very close. Anywho, so the Gordie Howe International Bridge is a joint project between, you guessed it, Canada and us. And it's a new bridge, a 6-lane cable-stayed bridge that will connect Detroit, Michigan, to Windsor, Ontario.
Oh wow.
It will be the longest, when it's completed, it will be the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America.
How long?
8,202 feet. So you have 3 lanes of traffic in each direction, including a pedestrian walkway and cyclist path. So pretty nice there. It should be on the screen for y'all to see. And they started back in 2018. It's expected to complete. It's expected to be completed in 2025, and it'll be $4.4 billion.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Dang.
It's being built to replace the existing Ambassador Bridge, which is one of the busiest commercial land border crossings between Canada and the U.S. So the new bridge will help, deal with congestion and all that, and make it a little bit easier for people to get in between us and Canada.
Looks like a pretty nice bridge.
It does, yeah.
We'll
Kind
have to
of
go-
reminds me of the one in Dallas. Right, it kind of has the same little cable stay, much smaller, of course.
Yeah.
But
Fun fact, you know the architect of that bridge?
it was you?
No.
Oh, that would have been a great fun
That I should know.
Oh, Cesar.
I kind of know it.
So
I want to say something Calatrava, Santiago Calatrava.
Oh, it's a Spanish dude?
I think so. Yeah. Wow, look at that memory. Cesar was not. Yeah, I knew he would have known architects. You know.
Architects.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, Gordie Howe International Bridge coming to a country near
A
you.
country near you. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Hagen.
You're welcome, Bruno.
Now time for a guest.
Ooh,
I don't know if you've seen the email,
no,
but we
I
have
don't read
a
emails.
big dog in
especially
the
from
house.
James Holmes. Oh,
A big dog. This big dog. I think he's into marathons, and I'm sure James will ask him here shortly.
yes.
But he has done a couple. He's a big runner, big fitness guy. Yeah, I can't remember how many he actually has run, and I think he might have done some Ironman, maybe just marathons.
We'll figure it
We'll
out.
find out.
We'll find out.
We'll
Yeah,
ask
that's a
him.
good question.
And even though in your computer, even if you try to do Control-Delete, he might not solve your problems, but he'll help you with those help desk tickets.
Okay.
He leads the effort in our IT department, and he's here to bite into some of his experience and tell us about it.
Okay.
So make sure,
BYTE. I get it.
yeah. So make sure you code your way to a good time here shortly. And I can't wait to get to know more of this guy because he's usually in Dallas, so we need to talk to him very often. I mean, I think we all work with him in some sense of fashion. I know R&D is very.
Oh, we work with them all the time.
Lots
I
of
think it's the
collaboration.
guy. I think you're talking about.
I think so.
I have no idea.
Oh, but it's time to debug and listen to our guest, Terry Mullis.
Yay, Terry!
Yes, we've got cameras everywhere.
I
Like the
know.
CIA. Everywhere you look, we've got cameras. Microphones, cameras.
You need a top view next.
Yes. Or we can do I think like the cooking shows, like computer
Oh.
assembly shows, things like
There you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Product review shows. Have a nice butcher block
Zooms
background.
in on the, yeah, there you go.
Have to look at my hands, be like, oh, what happened to that guy? Fingers, nails, filthy.
Need a
What's he doing?
medicure before before each week.
It's probably not a bad idea, you
Yeah.
know, just to make people feel like I'm clean. I
There you
feel
go.
like there's days like spent a lot of weekends working on like cars or like taking down trees and working on chainsaws this
sure.
past weekend. I came into work Monday and there's just like, I'd showered several times, but there's just like that grime and oil that
Right.
like
That
seeps in.
never gets out. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I promise I'm a clean person.
So just no close-ups on the fingertips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long as we stay away from those, we'll be all right.
There you go.
Well, yeah, thanks for taking some time to walk across the parking lot and hang out with us for a bit.
Sure. No. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. I think we haven't had, or no, we have. We had a couple of directors, but see, we had Mr. Grammer and we had Mr. Gilliam, so we've had a
Right.
couple directors,
Right.
but if they're very small departments that you know they have a very significant impact, but they're very small departments.
Well, I think I'm the first one from IT.
You're absolutely
go.
the first person from IT,
Yes.
and that is a monster of a department, especially compared to a lot of the other innovation group
Sure. Yeah. I think
departments.
probably here and VDC are probably the two largest for innovations.
And for those that aren't familiar, Terry, what is your current role here at RO?
Sure. So I'm the director of IT, so manage the IT department.
What does that kind of consist of day in and day out? I think of whenever I think of IT, it's probably incorrect, but I think of like fixing Outlook and stuff like that. I imagine there's a lot more to it.
Well, luckily, I've got a great team because the day-to-day is really helping ops do what they need to do and not have to worry about their computer. So the desktop support, field support, getting the team's new projects up and running. So luckily with our field team and with Amy, I don't have to worry about a lot of that. So it allows me to focus on the bigger things. You know, we're looking at improving our data warehouse, our Power BI reports, new tools for the team. So constantly working with you and Grammer and Chris and others on what are new things that we can leverage as well.
Before we get into some of the things exciting
Sure,
and all that, how did you get here? Because you've been here for how long now?
Just over 2 years. Yep.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's
thank
right,
you.
back in August, right? Or
June.
June.
2 years in June. Yep. Yeah.
It looks like you came out of high school and jumped on board. Is that?
I did right before Hagen, joined. No, luckily Todd found me, and I'm new to the construction industry, so haven't worked in construction, but I've worked in a lot of other industries from the IT perspective, and that's one thing I've always enjoyed is learning a new industry and their business processes and how they do things. So Todd was like, "Hey, I've got the construction experience, you got the IT experience, so come on board and we'll make a great team."
Perfect marriage of skill sets.
That's right. Yeah.
How do you feel like the construction industry is different from those other industries where some of those other industries had more similarities, or do you feel like they're all kind of equally different, if you will?
I think they all have their own challenges for sure. One of the industries I worked in was the finance industry. So,
Oh, wow.
banking and regulations and, just controls and things you have to have in place. So it has challenges. I've worked in the automotive industry, so manufacturing, and so just interesting dynamics there. But construction's has its own challenges, really. You don't have everybody all in one spot, in one office to manage. And, from a support perspective, you can't just walk over to their desk and help them out. From a project perspective, we're constantly spinning up new teams, new locations. So it's just totally different challenges than I've had in other industries.
And it's also fleeting too, because you might have a project team that, like you said, you spin up and they're on site for 8 months and then it dissolves.
Sure.
You tear down the job and they go off, and those 4 people may not work together again for another 2 years. So
Right.
I would imagine that it's even more challenging, not only with the repetition, but with the I don't want to say lack of consistency, but just the constant changes with staffing and all that, and trying to figure out how people communicate and how to digest the the troubles they're having and all that probably varies a lot.
Oh, sure. And every team's different too. So just, learning to work with the different teams. And like you said, it could be a team that stood up for 6 months to maybe one that's 3 years. So, we rolled out the last year and a half, 2 years, rolled out new processes for mobilizing new projects. Well, some teams just came off of projects that they've been on for 3 years. So this is the first time they've seen those new processes.
Forgot
so
what
crazy.
that's like. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think when you roll something out that everybody's going to see it right away, but that's one of the other differences in construction. It's what I call a really long tail. So it's, we move people onto Procore financials. It could take 2 years to get everybody on it just because they're coming off other projects.
And you're still having to support then those legacy systems that were in place and that those projects and
Right.
teams were on. So you've got the new thing. You're trying to get people trained up and support that while also supporting the old stuff. And then, like you mentioned earlier, keeping on top of what the next thing is.
Right. So it's a challenge from a process perspective. It's a challenge from the training. It's a challenge from even the computers as we, image new computers and get stuff. We have to make sure they still work for sometimes the older platforms. And then even from a data, I was talking about the data warehouse. Until everybody's on the same platform, we're not getting the same data across the whole enterprise. So it can be challenging across the board
Yes, it can.
with that long tail. Yeah.
It sounds too, I know you mentioned Amy. Amy, we're coming for you. We're going to get her on one of these days. I don't know when.
Good luck.
But do you feel like the value of those team members is what allows your department to function well? I guess if I were to rephrase that, is it better to have a big team of average players, or is it better to have a smaller team of super high performers for you in the IT area?
Oh, sure. I think for any team, I would take high performers over average performers. And if that means a few less team members, obviously you have to look at the workload and everything, and what's the right number of people. I've been here for 2 years. The 3 of my team members were here when I got here, and those are solid performers. Amy, Katz, and Brandt.
Amy was here before you.
She was. She started
didn't-
about 6 months before I did.
I didn't realize that. I
Yes.
thought she came on board after.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Brandt's about to, his 5-year anniversary is coming up next week or this weekend.
Yeah.
And Katz has been here about 6 years. So solid 3 people. And then the rest of the team, actually, we've hired since I've been here. So that's how young the team is.
Which is like the whole other half, if not more.
Yeah, 10 people total, and 3 were here before I started. So we had a few transition after I started. I guess they didn't like me or something. So we were able to, Amy and I were able to really handpick some solid performers and people that fit into the culture and fit into the team dynamics. And it's really created just a great team.
That's incredible. That's such an immense amount of growth over a relatively small time period.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we were not well outfitted before? Do you think things were understaffed, or do you think it was just the additional responsibilities and the more structured approach that you've brought to the organization, did that necessitate the people more so than the workload?
No, great question. So the first 3 hires, which were about 4 months after I started, were all replacements, all attrition. And then we hired Yazin. So that was DDA, Montreal, and Andrew.
Okay.
All started second half of 21. And then we hired Yazin, which was our first BI analyst, Power BI analyst. So that was a new and really helping us dive into the Power BI dashboards and a little bit deeper in the data warehouse. We had a few Power BI dashboards before he started, but a third party put those together for us.
Gotcha.
So we had to outsource for that. So that was helping us grow in the data area. And then in early 22, we hired Greg and Victor. Greg was our first IT project manager, so to help us manage our projects and be more effective in implementation. And then Victor was a net new for the field team, and that was really because of growth in the operations side. and not just growth over that last year, but it kind of over time we were needing a fourth person. So now we have 2 field techs in Austin and 2 field techs here in Dallas.
Man, that's just. I remember I've been here 7 years now, give or take, which isn't that long.
Goes
But
by
also,
quick, doesn't
whenever
it? Yeah.
you look at that spread in motivosity, there's not a whole lot of us out there.
Oh, sure.
But I remember the IT department being like 3 people across the whole company, going like, this isn't making sense. Everyone has a computer here, and we're all using email, and we're all using at that point in time, Vista and Outlook and Bluebeam and all that. I'm like, something doesn't pass the gut check.
Well, and it's interesting because with the Citadel Group, I see kind of what some of the other construction companies out there do, and ours O'Brien is Premier, and the IT department we try to be Premier as well. And a lot of other construction companies, they don't. When there's a new project and a new mobilization, they don't go out to the site. They don't stand them up. They may send them some hotspots. They may ship them, something that they have to do on their own. But it's a lot of hands off for the job sites, and we want the job sites to be productive day one. So we want them to worry about the job and us worry about IT and getting them stood up.
Man, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't, not something I frequently think about, but yeah, if you're handing out hotspots or throwing someone a switch or whatever and saying, hey, plug it in, do this, do that, that's critical time, especially early on in the project while they're going through permitting and getting NTP potentially and all that and getting dirt work going and utilities and all. Like those are all on the critical path. So if you're taking a couple of days for them to set stuff up and get it moving
or have to
productive,
get with Spectrum and go through that, it's not always just a straight setup. So it's having to get new lines run and everything, and it takes planning and time and effort, and that's just several less things that the teams don't have to worry about and can focus on, like you said, NTP and other things.
Should probably be a little more appreciative of all that.
That would be nice, but here again. We're
I think IT to some degree to me is similar to good design, and that whenever it's done well, you don't notice it.
Right.
It just is like, oh, everything works. It's whenever it's not done well, whenever you look at the menu at a restaurant, it's in like, Times New Roman 10-point font, all the same. And it's like, God, this is terrible.
Can't read it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go to something that has a real nice menu. You're like, oh, it's just the menu.
It's when the computer doesn't work or internet doesn't work, or then that's when we get the phone calls for sure. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite parts of your job?
It's really, I'm still learning a lot about construction. So I like I said, I enjoy learning those processes. I enjoy going out to the job sites and seeing what they do. And I've been to a number of them, and but they're all different too. So it's not like you go to one and you're done because you've been there, done that. So every one I've been to has something different challenges. And so it's just exciting to see kind of the amazing things that they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like you hear that from a lot of folks that they like construction because it's always something different.
Right.
It's,
Sure.
I don't know, I guess like construction and law enforcement and the hospitals, like something different every day.
Yep.
But a lot of those, I would imagine, I've never worked in the IT sector, but I imagine that there is a lot of repetitive nature to it in a lot of places, especially in finance, where it's kind of, okay, come in and run these audit reports, set these pieces of network gear up or whatever. I don't know what it all goes into it, but
here it seems like every day is a challenge as well. So, sometimes it can be kind of the same thing, but with how diverse and how much is going on here, there's always different challenges. For sure.
You're no stranger to challenge in many aspects, are you? You've done some marathons, yeah?
Sure, yes.
And Ironman triathlons, is that also true?
I've done a Ironman, a sprint Ironman, so the short version. The swimming
the reasonable version.
Correct, yeah. So it was a 18-mile bike, a half-mile swim, and 5K, I think. But the swim isn't my thing, so I have a saying: if you're running or you're biking and you get tired, you can stop and catch your breath. If you're swimming and you get tired, you pretty much drown. So That's I did my sprint. I'm one and done on the triathlons.
There you go. Hey,
I've done a few
just,
marathons though. Yes,
you always just lay on your back, just flutter through.
that's pretty much how I got through that. Half
Yeah. I've done 2 sprints, and one of them they did the swim in a pool, and it was back and forth and back and forth, and it was.
Yeah.
I would have traded in for dirty, nasty pond water in a heartbeat to just not be swimming back and forth between those darn red and white floaties for what seemed like a lifetime.
Mine was a lake, open water swim. It was in Shreveport, so fairly nasty lake. I don't even remember the name of the lake.
Driven over it.
But yeah, so they have, when you do lake swims, from what I understand, because I've only done the one, but they have spotters, because especially if it's that dirty, you can't, if somebody goes under, you're not going to know. So they have spotters throughout the course, and it was pretty funny because it would be like canoes or whatever type boats. And I would see the one guy kind of following me, and then he would motion to the guy in front of him, "Hey, you got this guy? Make sure. He looks like he may go under." So they had constant eyes on, I think, the whole time.
We got a buoy over here. He's up and down. He's up, he's down. What was it that attracted you to doing those physically challenging endeavors? I think it's the marathon in particular. I feel I've not run a full marathon myself, but I feel like that requires more training than a triathlon does. Like that's something you have to work on for months, if not years, to prepare yourself for. Was it just the kind of a bucket list type thing, or was it the fulfillment from the accomplishment? What kept your drive up through those training days?
It started as a bucket list item. As I was getting older, it was kind of always on my bucket list. And as I was getting older, I was like, if this is one that you can't wait until you retire, so I better do it sooner than later. And so I figured out a way to force yourself to do it. Is you sign up is the first thing. And that's usually 6 months ahead of time. And then you tell everybody that you've signed up. Because then it pretty much forces you.
An accountability buddy.
It does. Yeah, the hardest thing for a marathon isn't the marathon itself. It's the training for the marathon. So it's the hours you have to put in, and the getting that schedule and putting those miles in for sure.
Did you go through and find yourself like a running coach or a running club or something to get involved with, or did you kind of take it on upon yourself to be self-disciplined and execute that training regimen?
Pretty much on my own. I found a few good books that had some training schedules in them, and kind of went off those, and had a few friends that were running. So one of the friends, we never were able to coordinate and get on the same schedule as far as for the race itself, but we were able to do some training together. So that helped for sure.
There you go. Yeah, I think even just having one person with you, if you're out there by yourself training for a marathon and you're the only person in your neighborhood doing it, you're a lunatic.
Right.
But if you've got one other person with you, now
it's just 2 lunatics,
Yeah. At least you're in good company at that
That's
point.
right.
You're not out there by yourself.
That's right.
Feeling ridiculed by the looky-loos out there through the windows on a Sunday morning.
It's funny. So with COVID, they had a lot more virtual races, right? And they actually had virtual marathons, which to me is just ridiculous. To me, that's just called a really long training run. But
I hate to interrupt you, but what exactly is a virtual marathon?
So a virtual race is because of COVID, they weren't able to bring everybody together for the race. So most of them were like 5Ks, 10Ks. It was really a way to keep their money stream coming.
Okay.
So you would sign up for this virtual race, and you would run it on your own through your own neighborhood, and with like a GPS watch or whatever, so you could submit that back to them and say, I ran my 3.1 miles for a 5K. And so same thing for the marathons, because there were some big ones. New York was canceled. Others were canceled during COVID. So here again, to keep their money stream, they had virtual marathons. So you map out your 26.2 mile course through your neighborhood, and you go on a training run.
I'd be looking at a topo map and finding the most downhill sections one way I could find.
There you go.
Wow. Okay. So
total different experience because really it's the crowds and it's the people cheering you on that's helped to
Right.
motivate you during the run. But to do 26 miles, just so anyway. So I my daughter signed up for the New York Virtual in 21, which was half virtual, half live.
Okay.
So she asked me to run it with her. So I went and ran it with her, and it was in Florida, so it made it fairly nice. What was funny was we went down the road that goes along the ocean for the first 13 miles, and then we came back the last 13. And when we came back, we passed these people, and they were like, "Didn't we see you this morning?"
Yeah.
Have you been running all day? What's going on? It's like, yeah, pretty much.
That's
Yeah.
basically it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheap entertainment. Good for your health too.
yeah, that's right.
Guys, that's a nice place to do a marathon. I feel like having that nice view of the ocean and all
sure.
that, and the
Yeah.
white sandy beaches in Florida. Probably a little nicer than doing it in Houston or Corpus or something like
Sure,
that.
sure. Yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah, for sure.
When we first said virtual marathon, I was picturing you throw on an Oculus and you pump your arms for 5 hours, and that's a virtual marathon.
Yeah,
Not
So
quite
it's
that bad yet.
just not everyone doing it at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could get into it wholeheartely. You know what I mean? I might be able to talk myself
sure.
into doing it, but as far as giving it a good push, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nobody here.
No,
Just-
I'd much rather do it face to face. Sign up, get up early in the morning. Go
Yeah.
yeah.
Good news is we made it out of that. We're here.
That's right.
So now you can go knock them all off your list. Go hit the New York Marathon, Boston Marathon. You can.
Yep.
Chicago Marathon. Shoot, go.
Done all three of those.
Oh, have you really?
I have. Yeah.
Wow. How many have you done total marathons?
I think 17, 18.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Oh, we got a sound effect. Then.
Yeah.
That is
and actually
wild.
New York for the first time last November. So just recently
Man,
able to do that with my daughter as well. So that was cool.
congratulations there, Mr. Mullis. That's
Yeah, thank you.
incredible. That is a level of dedication that very few people have.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Doing one and saying, "Hey, I did my one. I
Mm-hmm.
checked it off the bucket list. That was fun. I'm gonna get some Taco Bell is one thing, but to stick with it and do 16, 17 more
Mm-hmm.
is incredible."
Yeah.
Going back over to construction stuff and IT related things and all that, what are some of the cool, interesting things that you and your team have been working on lately? I know you mentioned you have the data warehouse type stuff and some of the newer dashboards and those types of things going on. Well, you've got the eyes and ears of RO and whomever not from RO that happens to tune into these.
The other three people outside of that.
Yeah, there's a couple. We've
Yeah.
recruited a couple outside parties to support us on our view count. But
Nice.
what are some kind of the cool, interesting, unique things that we have going on in the IT world?
Sure. Most of the stuff isn't cool. it's cybersecurity. It's helping to make sure we're solid and that people don't come in and hack our systems. And that's why you see some of the things we've rolled out recently with the multi-factor and stuff. So those aren't the cool stuff, right? But some of the things we're working with right now and trying out with some of the cameras we have on job sites. We've been testing cellular cameras, so they don't have to be on the trailer. Some of the trailers aren't right next to the job sites, so when you have a camera pointing to the job sites that's half a mile away, don't get much effect.
Yeah,
from
not
that.
quite the view you're hoping for there.
So we've been piloting the cellular cameras for probably about 6 months now and getting pretty good feedback on those and good benefit. The next one we're going to test, and we're trying to find the right location for it, is a solar camera. So getting the cellular combination with a solar panel, so we don't have to have power to the location of the camera.
That's handy. I imagine that's a standalone deployable product, basically.
Right.
It's as secure as you feel leaving it wherever it is. It's set it up and go.
Right. And it's nothing new. I mean, you see them on job sites all around, mainly for security reasons for the most part. But trying to get something that's cost effective and they are fairly bulky. So something that's out of the way can still get good camera shot of the site. So that's kind of some of the things we have in the works that hope to roll out, by the end of the year. Give different options for the teams.
Very cool. Yeah, give them kind of that a la carte menu style of, hey, what do you want for support on this project?
Yep.
Let them run through the VDC list and the IT list and the quality list and
Right.
fill up their menu in pre-construction. They get everything bid out appropriately. Everyone gets paid. Everyone's happy. They
There
get
you
the
go.
services they want. There's no surprises.
Make sure they get their work done, because if if projects aren't built, then none of us get paid, right?
We're all going to be struggling.
That's
None of
right.
this will be happening.
That's right.
I'll be like, hey, James, grab a shovel. We got a ditch for you to dig. We need some piers dug out.
Another one that's not as new, but maybe new to some people because they haven't seen it yet, is the Starlink devices for the internet access. Some of our job sites, even if they're in the city, we can't always get Spectrum and AT&T to run lines to them. So we need different options. And we've been using Starlink now for about a year and a half. And we have business units, plus we have RV units that are more portable, easier to stand up.
Very cool.
And have had really pretty good success with those. More the small to medium-sized projects. If they get too large, you really need fiber for those. You
Just
get
the
too many
amount of-
people and too much data. But that's given us a nice option to be able to. Also, sometimes it's spinning up quickly as a temporary solution until we can get the fiber run or a cable run for a job site.
God, yeah, even just something so they can do emails and Procore type stuff and all that. Maybe not syncing giant folders or sending videos back and forth and all, but just get the bare bones up and going for them.
Yeah, and it's worked fairly well. It's better than a hotspot. It's better than some of the other options that we have, and so that's
just
been a nice additional tool to add to the tool belt.
incredible to think of that here we are as a construction company using satellite-based internet for our very terrestrial projects.
Sure. Yeah.
And, it wasn't but about, 60 some odd years ago now that we're putting someone on the moon. And now it's satellites for everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pay the fee, buy the gear, you're in. Rock and roll. Yeah, it's just incredible what they've been able to do and some of the tools that are out there and all that. On that note, what do you think a job site will look like 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's going to be crazy. I think, and I know you've had a few other people talk to this, some of the robotics will change some of the landscape in allowing some of the redundant work to be done through the robotics. Don't know, not that IT is going to be deploying those, but that could change the needs of what we have to provide for those sites. Who knows with, like you said, the satellites and the mobile phones and everything else. And
beam down some nanites from a satellite. They show up on a site, build the structure. It's probably a little more than 5 years, but
maybe 6 or 7. Yeah.
I like your optimism, Mr. Mullis.
The teleporters. So we'll have to have a teleporter stood up at each job site so you can go from job site to job site.
How? Oh, hold on now.
Blow up your brain there.
You did, because you said teleporter. Like, teleport people, yeah, it's great. It's cool being able to get people, you can go visit every job site, set things up quickly.
Sure.
But, what if you could just teleport a whole building? What if you had, a manufacturing facility where you built a high rise?
Yeah.
It's enclosed, climate controlled, and you build this whole, 30-story concrete, steel, whatever structure. And then whenever you get done, you just hit the big green button. It just delivers it. And hopefully everyone's out of the way on the site. Hopefully
the logistics of that before you push the button, right?
There might be some red tape.
Move
there.
out. Nope, you're still standing right where the corner of the building is going to go. Be careful.
Have another Philadelphia
That would be,
experiment type issue there.
Yeah.
But
I guess in that case,
right?
all of our workers will be back in the one location
Yeah.
until you push the button to teleport the building.
That you don't have all the traffic associated with getting deliveries downtown and concrete trucks and workers and all that. controlled facility.
Some of the details may still have to be worked out with the footers and the.
I think you're probably,
some of
there's some foundation stuff.
30 feet down construction that happens. I know I'm new to this, but I think there's some details we still need to work out.
I've seen the accuracy we drill piers with. I'm not sure that I want to, expect
Do that through a teleportation.
Yeah.
We'll start with moving people and product, and then we'll
Yeah.
get to the buildings.
Scale up eventually.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think it's limitless where we could end up in 5 to 10 years and what the job site's going to look like.
It is. And that's anytime I think something, I think, oh, well, that's ridiculous. It's not going to happen. I think to 5 years ago or even 50 years ago, you're like, man, that was 50 years ago. I mean, that's within the lifetime of a lot of people that work here, and they were air hammering rivets into steel to build buildings. And now we wouldn't even no, let's cast in place concrete or weld stuff together or whatever like that. We don't have people sitting up there on I-beams on bridges hammering rivets together. Like, it's an antiquated process. Yeah. So looking 50 years ahead, they're probably be looking at you guys built stuff with concrete and steel. Like, what were you thinking? There are so many better, synthetic or composite alternatives.
We need to find the episode of the Jetsons where they focused on the construction building of building and see how they did it.
Is that a thing? Is there an episode of that?
I don't know that there is.
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool if there was. That we get all the futuristic stuff around how you get around, but I don't know if they focused on how construction would work.
I don't know. I didn't really ever watch the Jetsons, but I think of Ray Kurzweil and stuff like that, like some of the sci-fi guys that, or Jules Verne, right, that forecasted things like submarines and flying ships and all that, and all that existed in sci-fi well before scientists and theorists had found a way to make it possible. So I think you might be onto something. We ought to be paying some more dividends to the sci-fi section at Barnes and Noble. Is that even relevant anymore?
I don't know. Are they still standing?
I don't know. It's probably a coffee shop or something if it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look for those creative inspiration maybe for process changes and innovation.
Yep.
You're a bit of a reader too, aren't you there, Mr. Mullis?
A little bit.
I feel like we have our innovation call as every other week.
Right.
And I feel like you're the one man, I just read this book and it was great, and everyone else jumps on board.
Well, the Libros really helped with that. I've taken advantage of the drive time and stuff to be able to listen to those. So lately been more of a listener, I would say, than a reader, but been able to get through some of those books. So some great books out on Libro for sure.
Well, shout out to Todd Wynn and Libro out there. You get two book credits per month.
2 a month.
Right.
2 a month.
And they don't roll over. You use them or lose them, right?
So you get a download, two books a month. The thing is, once you download them, you don't have to listen to them during that month. Once they're in once you've downloaded them, they're yours to keep.
Okay.
Even if you leave RO within Libro, you can then keep those.
Oh, wow.
I tell my team, download 2 every month. I don't care if you're listening to 1 or none. Then you're creating a backlog of these books that you can listen to, whether you're going to be taking a trip or just behind the windshield for a while.
Yeah.
Then pull them out and take a listen. So, take advantage of that and download 2 every month for sure.
Great tips. Yeah, and use it, right? There's still people out there. I know I'm guilty of it, in part because I have more Audible credits that I know what to do with from being signed up for that forever. But that's ROs out there. We're trying to make your lives better, trying to give you the tools to improve yourself, improve your team and peers and all that. If there's something out there you think, hey, I really want my team to communicate better, there's books on communication. If you think, hey, I want to be a better manager, I want to be a better leader, there's books on that. If you're looking to just get into some fiction and relax,
they have some fiction out there. Sure.
Neil Gaiman on there, right? Some of the stuff he writes is fantastic.
Dune, I know Dune's
right?
out there.
Yeah.
Plus, if there's some you see in the Libro library but not in the RO, then let Kevin know, let Todd know, let Liz know, and they can get them downloaded to the RO library for sure. And even I know last month Kevin was doing a lot of training on emotional intelligence and EQ. We've downloaded a book onto Libro now for that. So there's tons of different books on different topics.
Perfect compliment. That is the synergy that Todd is hoping to achieve across everything. And be like, well, somebody says this, and then somebody does this, and they all feed into, you say the same thing 3 different ways on 3 different occasions, and by the time one person's caught it, those 3 different delivery methods, it's going to sink
out
in.
there, and sure,
Yeah, actually able to see some cultural, behavioral change, improvement, however you want to label it, but it takes everyone, right?
That's right.
You can't rely on one person to like, hey, you're in charge of making this a better place, because it's impossible. It's on everybody.
Team effort for sure.
Yeah. So that's I'm always impressed whenever you're like, oh man, got through this book and it was a good one, and I feel like you have a good Reader's Digest to share with us all. So thank you.
Yes. No, you're welcome. There's definitely found some good ones around leadership and working with teams and communications. To your point,
do you feel like those have helped you grow as an individual, having access to those resources and using them?
Oh, for sure. And some of them, you listen to and you think, oh, I've heard that before, or I do this. But then there's other things that they bring up in the book that you're like, oh, I haven't thought about it from that perspective. So to me, every book I've listened to, there's something new that I've learned from it. So it's been great stuff.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of up to the reader to some degree. Like the author can present all the information in the world to you, but you need to be able to take that and look at it and say, well, this is my life, and this is how I can use those tools, tips, methods, techniques, whatever it is.
That's right.
And
there's always 1 or 2 things you can always take out of the book and then apply that. And so if you do that for every book you read, then that's just that many more skills that you have.
Definitely. So I know we touched on some of your favorite things about things that excite you here.
Okay.
Got to get the yin to go with the yang.
Okay.
What are some things that go on in IT that make you go, oh my God, I'm going to make it? Like, you got to woosah, do some deep breathing. Or are there things that just, you're like, man, I wish R&D would stop doing this nonsense?
We'll take that one offline, but
we don't have enough time, do we?
Yeah. I think we've run through too much of our time here. I think it's the things that come out of the blue and just you come in the morning and the AV is not working, or just something that's just unexpected, and it just blows up your day of what you had planned, and because we need to focus on getting that fixed and getting whoever's impacted up and running. And so it's those unknowns that just come out of nowhere and happen and just kind of blow up the day. That's the frustrating ones, because you can't necessarily plan for those. You can't do things. We try to put things in place to help when there's issues. We have extra laptops in inventory, extra iPads in inventory. So if your laptop just stops working, then we have one we can build out and get you up and running fairly quickly, versus having to wait and order one and wait a week or 2 to get it in. So there's some things we do to try to help speed that process along. But that's probably the most frustrating thing, is just when issues come out of nowhere and have to jump on them and get them fixed.
It would seem too that's very much a balancing point to strike, because you don't want an inventory of 50 laptops sitting there unused, and you're paying for licenses and the computers and the maintenance package or service deal on it or whatever. But you also don't want to have some issue come up and you're like, hey.
Yeah. It's definitely a balance. The summertime, we get a wrench thrown in there because we get 20 to 25 interns that come in for 2 months, 3 months, and so that impacts the inventory a little bit. But yeah, it's keeping a close eye on all the different pieces of hardware we have and keeping the right inventory levels.
And it's not that inventory isn't getting smaller, is it? It seems like every time I turn around, there's more stuff, more tools, more software, more complex systems.
Yeah. And then it's that time of year too, we're doing a refresh. So, there's 60, 80 people in the company that'll be getting the older laptops replaced. Some are getting replaced daily because they're older and they're breaking. But we're starting that effort too to do our annual refresh. So.
Yeah. Well, best of luck on that one. That is,
It's
I don't
not
envy you
nonstop.
for having to go through that. I know earlier you mentioned cybersecurity as being one of the areas of focus you have. I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there with people rebuilding websites and getting adjacent domain names and people sending emails and phone calls and text messages under the guise of an employee and all that.
Right.
What are some basic things we all could be doing as employees to make sure we're mitigating our exposure to cybersecurity threats?
So the studies have shown the largest impact in the last few years of hackers getting in is through phishing emails. And that's been on the rise and the higher percentage of how they get in. So just being careful of the emails you get. Don't do the quick click on a attachment, especially if it's an HTML attachment or some link. Because if you do that, they can easily get cached data that's on your computer, which is potentially your password. Now your password's probably encrypted, but they've got technology to decrypt those, and they can find out what your passwords are and then get into your accounts and get more information, and it just spreads from there. So just being careful with your emails and what you have, and if it's not what you're expecting to receive, then just be cautious with it. We get emails on a regular basis, and we ask people, hey, send it in, and if you're not sure, we can look at information behind the scenes to see if it's legit or not.
Yeah. So if you're out there in the field and you get an email from an invoice from Skyline Forming or something like that, and it's from Captain Crunch or whatever, and it's some HTML attachment that says, hey, I need you to get this signed and filled out today so we can proceed on your project or whatever. And you're like, I don't know this guy. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
Hit up IT.
Definitely. If it feels off, and it's tough with our business because we do have tons of invoices that come in to the project teams, and they're moving quick, and they're trying to go through the things quickly. But I try to tell people, just slow down. Don't jump into things too quickly, especially if it looks off. It's not a trade that we work with. It's just a different invoice. It definitely, if it's something that's not in your scope, like typically I would tell people, if you get an invoice, but you never get invoices, like you're not in accounting, then that's a red flag right there. So if it's something that typically wouldn't be in your scope, the big ones that we all see through texting or sometimes in emails is from Justin. He likes to send things out to a lot of people and ask for help to go out and buy gift cards. Because that's what he needs is gift cards to give to people. And so don't fall for that one.
Yeah.
I know you want to help Justin out.
Right.
But don't go buying $2,000 worth of gift cards.
Oh my goodness.
In $100 increments.
Yes. For anyone, if if you think it's your grandmother reaching out to you, maybe call her and talk to her. Be like, hey, Grams, you really need $2,000 worth of $100 Visa cards from
That's right.
Lowe's? Is that really what we need right now? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Is stop and if you feel like it may be legit, then ask, call that person up through a number that's not in that email. Look them up from their website. Look them up through an outside source, and call them and say, hey, if it's a bank, hey, did you send me this? You're asking for my bank information or ACH information. Usually you don't do that. Is this legit? So verify, through a third party type or a different source.
Yeah, that's a great tip, professionally and personally.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm sure
we're all impacted, whether it's at work or not. Or
yeah.
Yeah.
So many darn spammy emails. I was just celebrating the other day that I think I'm down to about 20 to 30 emails a day across all of my emails.
Well, you just turn all your emails off?
Almost. I've unsubscribed from everything.
Okay. Well, good.
Even some of like the professional organizations and stuff like that, ABC and AGC, like take it down to the minimum, like send me your monthly newsletter and I'll look at that. Like, I don't need to know about every
Yeah.
CPR class and award ceremony. Like, if I want to go, I'll dig into it. Right. But
Sure.
it's made my life so much better in
Yeah.
part because of that. Cause I'd see some of these and especially on the personal side of things, I'd see something and be like, oh, it's bank or whatever, someone from, broker or whatever that I need to get information to. And I'll go, wait a minute, this isn't
Yeah.
someone that I should be dealing with.
Well, and they also work on the sense of urgency. So they want you to react and feel like you have to do something quickly. Like the email from iTunes or Apple where, hey, you just purchased this game. No, I didn't. And you want to quickly get on there and tell them that you didn't purchase that game. Well, you just been hacked. It's that getting that quick reaction so you don't think and you're not cautious. That's what they work on for sure.
Got to exercise a bit of that prefrontal cortex a bit. Do a couple of deep breaths. Think
That's
about
right.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
Think about people's services. What would Kevin do?
Well, and especially with shared accounts like families or spouse, you may think, well, I didn't download the game, but my wife must have, or my kid must have.
That's such a great point.
And it looks like my account's been hacked. I need to get with Apple, and this looks like it's from Apple. So I'm just going to reply to them and give them my information so they can, stop this from happening when you're really just giving the hackers what they want.
Dirty birds.
Yeah, for sure.
What? I think we've got time for one more question here, Terry. If you had to give a young Terry some advice, what would you tell him?
I would say just persevere, kind of do whatever it takes to get the job done. That's kind of now is my mantra. I don't know that that's always been it, but just always give it 110%, and no matter what it takes, get the job done.
That's that'll go a long ways, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, show up, do it, put in the work, and
Right.
good things will happen.
Right. And sometimes you feel like the direction you're given isn't the best direction, and you think you know a better way to do it. But especially when you're new at something, and maybe just starting out, people have been there and done that, and they're telling you for a reason. So don't feel like you've got to prove them wrong and go and do it a different way. Sometimes it's learning and doing it the way they're showing you. And there may be a better way. I'm not saying that there's not, but you need to learn it first and understand it better before you try to prove that you're smarter than everybody else and go and do things on your own.
Yeah, that's seeking to understand why things are a certain way.
Sure.
There's
Right.
there are probably reasons that things have been developed into a certain process or standard or whatever. So
Right.
yeah,
And it's not, let's not change things, but let's understand why it's done that way. So when we do change it, we can take those things into account as well.
that's so beautiful thing whenever it all goes well and people
Right.
harmonize and get on board there. So thank you, Mr. Mullis, for taking some time to hang out with us. This is our first time doing this we're in Dallas. We're here. We're
actually
the
in
city of Dallas.
Reunion conference room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We packed it all up. We brought it up here so that we could sit down with some people and make it a little easier so you didn't have to basically spend a whole day traveling to and
I
from
appreciate
Austin.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying different things. We're trying to make these easier for people to be a part of. We've gotten a lot of good feedback. We want to keep them going. So any tips, tricks, thoughts anyone has, we're all ears. We'll always listen. And if you're like, hey, I've got some things I want to share, let us know. We're always working to build out the guest list.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll be back next week
Okay.
and have another great guest.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Terry.
James. Appreciate it.